What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your $600 second stimulus check update and your $2,000 third stimulus check update. We have major breaking news from the Republicans in the Senate who have their own stimulus package proposal from the Republicans. Yeah. And we have a White House response already directly from the White House. I'm going to give you all the details of it in this video. But first, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new videos regarding the upcoming stimulus checks, stimulus packages, and other stimulus programs that we cover on this channel, such as mortgage and rental assistance that comes directly from these stimulus packages. And give this video a like, it really helps out our channel. Okay, so basically, the Republicans from the Senate are a little nervous because, well, Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders says that they're going to put a bill for the third stimulus check package on the floor, as on the House floor and the Senate floor, as soon as Monday or Tuesday, which is tomorrow or Tuesday. So Republicans are like, just wait a second. We don't want to, we want to give you our own bill, our own proposal, and we hope that you take it. And again, I'm not a Republican, I'm not Democrat. This is just what is happening right now as the Democrats are planning to just jam through this bill completely on their own. Nancy Pelosi right now is already preparing the additional legal documents to do this third stimulus check package through the reconciliation process, where they can basically pass the next stimulus check and stimulus package without any Republican support at all by using one of these cards in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi is already preparing the documents to do this if needed. So they're already kind of basically saying, hey, we don't even think that we're going to get any Republican support on this, but nonetheless, we're going to pass this bill anyways. So Republicans are like, wait, can we negotiate now? We want to show you our own stimulus proposal. So if you've been following this channel, what do you think that stimulus proposal looks like? Comment down below and let me know your thoughts before we get into it. I'm going to show you their actual letter, and then I'm going to show you the response from the White House. This is a good one. You're going to want to watch to the end so you get all the latest breaking details. All right, let's jump over to the letter that comes directly from 10 Republican senators just from moments ago. All right, here we go. I got the actual letter on the screen so you can follow along if you'd like. It comes from the United States Senate to the President at the Washington, D.C., and it says, dated today, "Dear Mr. President, as you proclaimed in your inaugural address, overcoming the challenges facing our nation requires the most elusive of things in a democracy, unity." And this is what President Joe Biden has been calling for. "Heeding that important call, we welcome the opportunity to work with you in a bipartisan manner." Bipartisan means basically Republican and Democrat support from both sides, "to combat the COVID-19 virus and provide continued support to families struggling during the pandemic. In the spirit of bipartisanship and unity, we have developed a COVID-19 relief framework," basically a bill outline, "that builds on prior COVID assistance laws, all of which have been passed with bipartisan support. Our proposal reflects many of your stated priorities, and with your support, we believe that this plan could be approved quickly by Congress with bipartisan support." Now remember, this letter is written from 10 Republicans, and coincidentally, that is all you need in the Senate to pass a bill without the reconciliation card. You need 10 Republicans and all 50 Democrats. You need 60 votes. "We request the opportunity to meet with you to discuss our proposal in greater detail and how we can work together to meet the needs of the American people during this persistent pandemic. Addressing this public health crisis has required robust and rapid support for vaccine development and distribution, testing and tracing, treatment and supplies, including production and deployment of personal protective equipment. We agree with you that continuing to build our capacity in these areas is crucial to overcoming the pandemic. Like your plan, Our proposal includes a total of $160 billion to enhance our capabilities in these areas, as well as to support our healthcare providers who are on the front lines of the pandemic. Our plan mirrors your request also for $4 billion to bolster our behavioral health and substance abuse services. Our proposal also includes economic relief for those Americans with the greatest need, providing more targeted assistance than in the administration's plan. We propose an additional round of economic impact payments for those families who need the assistance the most, including their dependent children and adults. So let's go over this again. We propose an additional round of economic impact payments, stimulus checks, for those families who need the assistance the most, including their dependent children and adults. So, dependent children and adults. So, does that include adult dependents? It probably looks like so. Okay. Our plan also includes extending enhanced federal unemployment benefits at the current level and fully funding your request for nutrition assistance to help struggling families. So at the current level would make me think that it's $300 per week unemployment boost instead of Biden's proposal of $400 per week starting in mid-March when the current $300 unemployment boost runs out. We share your goal of providing additional assistance for our small businesses, including in our plan are additional resources to help our small businesses and their employees through the successful Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDL program. So it looks like here included are additional resources for the PPP program and the EIDL program. So this is hinting at a third round of PPP and EIDL if you have a small business or a side hustle that basically is a small business. Getting our children back to support and making sure that schools are able to stay open safely are priorities that we strongly support. Our plan includes resources for these purposes as well as for childcare, which is a critical component to getting Americans back to work. Finally, we note that billions of dollars remain unspent from previous COVID relief packages. Just last month, Congress provided $900 billion in additional resources, and communities are only now receiving much of that assistance. Some of the spending appropriated through the CARES Act passed last March also has yet to be exhausted. The proposal we have outlined is mindful of these past efforts, while also acknowledging the priorities that need additional support right now. In 2020, members of the House and the Senate and the previous administration came together on a bipartisan basis 5 times to direct the resources. This is the 5 previous stimulus packages. So the House and the Senate and the previous administration came together on a bipartisan basis 5 different times to direct the resources of the federal government towards combating the urgent COVID-19 pandemic. Each of these laws received the support of members from both political parties. With your support, we believe Congress can once again craft a relief package that will provide meaningful, effective assistance to the American people and set us on a path to recovery. We recognize your calls for unity and want to work in good faith with your administration to meet the health, economic, and societal challenges of the COVID crisis. Thank you for your consideration. As you can see here, this is signed by 10 different Republican senators, as you can see here on the screen. Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, Rob Portman from Ohio, Todd Young, Michael Rounds, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney, Shelley Capito, Jerry Moran, and Tom Tillis. So we basically have an outline there of what the Republicans want and what they're saying that they're willing to pass as a bipartisan thing, as a bipartisan bill. So what can we expect here? One, this is just the Republican proposal, okay? Two is that we're going to hear from the White House here in a second on what their response is. But basically, we can consider that the Republicans' proposal is smaller. The current proposal from the Biden administration is $1.9 trillion. I'm hearing some additional information on this because again, they didn't give us exact numbers here, but I'm hearing it'll probably be around $1 trillion for the Republican proposal. Again, the Republicans don't get what they want necessarily. This is what they're proposing that they would be willing to pass as a bipartisan proposal. So, and also we mentioned that they mentioned there in the bill that the stimulus check would be more targeted. So the question is, would that mean a slightly smaller check? Or I for sure think that because there's so much hubbub about the less than 1% of the money. Even Bernie Sanders says, and trust me, Bernie Sanders is not for the rich. He's probably one of the most anti-rich people out there. That less than 1% of the current wording of the bill for the checks would go to the rich. And this wasn't a problem in the past, but it is now because the checks are larger and especially for children. So because they're $1,400 at least for adults and $1,400 for children, a family would say 4 children and makes $300,000 because every thousand you make over $75,000 reduces your check by $50. A family who maybe has 4 children and makes $300,000 would still get a small reduced check, although again it's reduced because it gets reduced by every $1,000. So somebody who makes a lot of money, a family, and has multiple children, because those checks all add up, $1,400 per children and for the adults, they could still get a small stimulus check. So I think that they're probably going to reword that to put a hard cap, probably at $75,000 or $99,000 for adults, and couples would be double that. So 150 and 198 is probably what I'm expecting because everybody's so concerned about this, but even Bernie Sanders says it's less than 1% of the money. So it's really not that big of a deal, but the Republicans are making a big deal out of this. So they're probably going to tweak that so that they can't basically say that that's a big deal anymore. Let me show you the White House response. We're going to go to White House economic advisor Brian Deese on the response to the Republicans on this package just moments ago.
President Biden's top economic advisor, director of the National Economic Council, Brian Deese. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you've seen this morning a group of 10 Republican senators led by Susan Collins, and it includes my next guest, Rob Portman, sent a letter to President Biden. It outlines a proposal for compromise, and in that they're requesting a meeting with President Biden to discuss it. Will that meeting happen?
We've received the letter, and we certainly will be reviewing it over the course of the day. What I will say is that the provisions of the president's plan, the American Rescue Plan, were calibrated to the economic crisis that we face. As you know, we just lived through the worst economic year since the demobilization in the wake of World War II. Just this week, 1 million more Americans filed claims for unemployment insurance. 30 million Americans reported they didn't have enough food to eat. We're in a unique crisis, and the elements of this plan really were designed and are designed to take on that crisis head on. How are we going to get shots in people's arms? How are we going to get schools reopened so parents can get back to work? And how are we going to provide that direct relief to those families and those businesses that are struggling the most? So that's the theory behind the plan. We're certainly open to input from anywhere where we can find a constructive idea to make this package as effective as possible. But the president is uncompromising when it comes to the speed that we need to act at to address this crisis.
But are you willing to negotiate any points of your proposal? Or, for example, are you wedded to the number, the price tag, $1.9 trillion? Are you willing to come down from that?
We really need to focus on the elements of this package and what they're intended to do. So if we look at the vaccine distribution effort, for example, the money that was passed in December is quickly running down, and we need more resources urgently to stand up the vaccine distribution efforts, the vaccine procurement efforts that we know are necessary if we're going to get our arms around this crisis. So if we want to have a viable chance at getting schools to reopen, we're going to have to provide more resources to schools. And if we don't act now, the cost of that is going to be greater going forward. So we're certainly open to ideas.
So if you kind of get the hint from Brian Deese here, he's basically saying, well, I mean, we're maybe open to hearing about a smaller stimulus package, but, well, this is what the economy needs.
Yeah, and everything you're saying is understandable. It makes sense. What I'm trying to figure out is where the points of compromise are. You talk about the specifics being most important. You would be okay if those specifics at the end of the day didn't add up to $1.9 trillion?
We've put a plan forward that is based on the bottom-up assessment of the objective need. So we welcome input to say where we may have not gotten everything right, where we could be more effective. Certainly that's part of the process as we go forward. But what we really need to focus on now is what do we need to get this economy back on track, and what are the resources necessary to do so? And I would note that while there has been focus on this cost, increasingly over the course of the week, we have seen study after study show what the cost is if we don't act. 4 million jobs lost, significantly less GDP growth this year, children who will be set back for their lifetime if we can't get them back into school. So this is a moment of crisis, and in moments of crisis, we've heard from the top economic advisors from President Bush, President Trump, economists across the board saying the cost of doing too little right now far outweighs the cost of doing too much. That's the theory behind the president's plan.
Let me drill down on one specific, and that is something that these 10 Republicans are in favor of. So is Democrat Joe Manchin, and that is to target the stimulus checks. In fact, you talk about studies, a nonpartisan analysis found that families making over $78,000 a year barely spent the last round of stimulus checks. So are you willing to make these checks more targeted to only people who really need the help?
We want to get cash into the pockets of the families and the businesses who need it the most. That's why we have unemployment insurance extension for people who have lost their jobs through no faults of their own, why we have support for nutrition and hunger, support to avoid families being evicted from their homes and being put out on the street.
But what about
and also the
$1,400
checks?
Will you target those $1,400?
Yeah, and the $1,400 checks. We're open to looking at how to make the entire package effective at achieving its objective, including providing support to families with children, providing direct child tax credits to families that have children and who have been hit the hardest in this crisis. That's certainly a place that we're willing to sit down and think about, are there ways to make the entire package more effective? I would just reinforce that we can't take on this issue without dealing with those who are unemployed. We can't take on this issue without dealing with those who are going hungry. And so as we think about the targeting, we think this plan is really targeted to provide cash into the pockets of the people who are the most in need, certainly open to figuring out if we can make that entire package as effective as possible.
Okay, but specifically on the checks, I think I'm hearing you say that that is a place you're willing to negotiate to make them more targeted to the people who need them most and not go to people who aren't going to spend them.
We're open to that idea. We're open to ideas across the board. What I want to reinforce is that if we're going to look at ways of targeting, we need to look at how this plan is targeted overall. And so the support that is going directly to children in terms of the child tax credit, the support that is going to keep people in their homes through eviction, those are highly targeted, and we should think about how all of these pieces work together to achieve that end goal, which is to get money into the pockets of the families and the small businesses that need it the most.
So yeah, obviously a breaking news story. This is developing right now. I think that if they do end up targeting anything with the stimulus checks, I think, as I said, they'll have a hard cutoff either at $75,000 or $99,000 for one individual and double that for a couple. The Republicans are wanting a smaller stimulus package here. So really the main question to ask, which we'll find out here shortly, probably if by the next video we may even have more information, is Biden willing to do a bipartisan bill and make the Republicans happy so that the Republicans will vote on this and they could pass the first stimulus package through a bipartisan way? Remember, President Biden has already announced the next stimulus package, which they call an infrastructure package, which basically will be coming out probably within the next month or so, which will be the next round of stimulus. It's going to be infrastructure and stimulus. So the question is, will he be willing to do a smaller stimulus package now and get this one through bipartisan and then possibly ram more through with the reconciliation cards in the future? Or will they stick to their guns and say, no, we want $1.9 trillion? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you think is going to happen? I will have more information for you guys in the next video, which will be out at 8 p.m. tonight and 11 p.m. tonight. Remember, we have new videos every day, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below. It's completely free, and click the bell icon to all notifications so you get notifications when we go live for all the videos except for the 11 p.m. video. You just got to tune in on your own, and share this video with your friends and family so they know what is going on, when to expect the third stimulus check, mortgage and rental assistance, student loan forgiveness, Social Security increases. We cover it all here on this channel. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this bottom video is about the $15 an hour minimum wage raise. Click on that if you haven't watched that yet either. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.